All right, traders, welcome to today's recap. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Monday, August 19th. So, a pretty nice day for the averages. Today, we had what you could call as a gap open. SPY finished up 1.2%. The Qs finished up, they outperformed. They were up 1.6%. Small caps did not do too bad. They were up 1% as well. So, nice participation day. I will say right off the bat, today was a very light trading day for me. I really didn't do much. We talked about that in the pre-market session. I think gap up days are very difficult. I know everybody wants they get excited, right? Because futures are up in the morning, but you could see for the S&P, we basically finished right where we opened. So they're tough because you see the market moving in the morning, and you think in fairness, we did go a little bit lower, and then we bounced, and I guess you could have. If you were really awesome at scalping, you could have bought the lows and sold the highs here. But overall, I don't mess with it too much. If there's something that I really kind of planned on getting involved in over the weekend, which I did, and I did put on a trade today, which I'll talk about in just a second. But let me go through today's performance. uh, so you can see not much change, right? If you haven't been watching my videos, then you may not know what the spreadsheet is. But in column N is basically percentage change from open. I always like to look at this to see where buyers are coming into the market, if they're selling things, if they're selling the rip, or if they're buying the dip, or if they're just looking at different areas than you might think of. So column N is percentage change from the open, and this double A column is the overall percentage for the day. Energy got a nice reprieve today. So energy was amongst the names. Also metals and mining. So some of the beaten up areas were responsible for the biggest moves today. That happens. I still think I'm not sure if I think this today, but I've been saying any bid in energy names is basically a good chance to kind of sell. Did I do that today? No. Do I want to do that? I have to kind of really look at the charts. We might have seen a bullish divergence here, but I feel like we've kind of seen this before. I just don't really have any appetite to go into these names. Same thing with the steel names. I think that what happens is the steel names like U.S. Steel. So if you caught U.S. Steel, congratulations, up 10% today. But these names are in heavy, heavy downtrends, and they're going to go up whenever you see, whenever, or I should say, it seems like they go up whenever there's talks of trade progress. I don't want to say a trade deal because I think that's still far away, if it ever happens. But it seems like whenever there's progress of trade, we get the same stocks that outperform. Your Win, your U.S. Steel, your little bit of your emerging markets, your little bit of your Chinese internets. So if you were clever enough to kind of get into these names before today, I think that you made some money in them. But I don't really like to chase on days like this, where some of the bottom feeders were the best performers. If we go through the rest of my spreadsheet, what else did pretty well today? Utilities. I think this is pretty interesting. I know it's not exciting to people, but the utility ETF is breaking out. So I found that interesting, and I did put that into the Tribeca Trade Group portfolio, which I'll talk about in a minute. That is one of the holdings in there. But XLU is breaking out. So, hey, a breakout is a breakout. I'll play anything that breaks out. I mentioned Chinese internet names. They were up 3.4%. They were one of your best performers today, and they actually added to the gains there. But and then if we have interesting the worst performer, and again, if you kind of go with what I was saying about some of the areas that have been kind of beaten down because of the trade war. I think maybe there was a little bit of unwinding in the hiding places, right? The software names. Interesting, the semis actually gave back some of the gains for the day. They still finished up 1.6% for the day, but they gave back about a 0.5% from open to close. The FANG stocks, kind of interesting here. Apple, again, most of the gain, all pre-market. Just 25 basis points. Amazon basically did nothing. So if I think it's important to illustrate this. We've been dealing, I think, with the last week or so, we've been dealing with a market that has been, really moving intraday. And sometimes when it slows down, when it goes back to the historic, if you remember, over time, usually the majority of the moves are made in the overnight markets, not during the day. So, maybe this flips a little bit to we have a little bit bigger overnight moves than intraday moves. Just a thought. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. But yeah, Amazon basically opened right where it closed, right where it opened. So again, I think if you came in today and you added some risk, congratulations. But there was very few and far between. So I thought to kind of day trade a little bit. Um, Option activity. We saw a couple different trades. I think a lot of people were talking about Microsoft. A lot of weeklies bought. I don't know. Sometimes they do that if there's another name that reports earnings. So, for example, this week Salesforce reports. I don't know if that's the reason why they bought. They positioned a little bit and pretty far out of the money. Microsoft, by the way, but sometimes this stuff works. Sometimes it doesn't. Uh, but Microsoft really just was a grinder of a day as well. Maybe finished up. So all those calls that were purchased. Now, granted, we saw some call activity last week in Microsoft, which I think was a little bit better quality. After it's already up, 1.1.5%. If you're going to chase, I would do it very lightly. But you could see finished up 20 basis points from where from the opening print. But yeah, here's the software names. Many of them really got shellacked. TTD finished down 1.76. But again, a lot of these names started with the S&P, up, and with the Nasdaq up about at least 1% on the day. But they sold off pretty hard. MDB was down 3.2% from the open. You can see a lot of names were down over 2%. Coupa Software, which I'm holding, and I took two profits on that on Monday. Perhaps I should have taken a target right on the open too, but that's okay. It's only one day. So that's kind of what we had for today. What else was I going to mention for the day? We got a bunch of names that report earnings tomorrow. Baidu reported, pretty beaten up name, did bounce, so possibly in hindsight, a nice buying opportunity. So I'll just mention this once. I got a lot of questions on this, but here's how this works. Is let's see, do I have this up someplace? I should. Yeah. So what we've done is we've created a portfolio. So going back to part of the reasons why I did this now, I just anticipate maybe a little bit more choppy. I think it will be harder to trade options the next couple months. I think that we have the possibility to continue to rally a bit, but I think we could also have some days where we really have some choppy days. So what I'm doing is I'm managing a whole portfolio. I called it a customized ETF, but I'm managing a whole portfolio, but managing the individual names in the portfolio. So managing targets and managing stop prices. I had a couple of people ask me about it on Twitter. To get access to it, you do have to be a member. Sorry, people are like, yeah, show us the portfolio. If I'm going to spend all my time doing it, everything can't be for free. So, sorry, that's just the way it works. And then what's really nice about this, I actually really like the platform of Motif. So once you kind of subscribe to follow the portfolio, you can get alerts as I change it, right? So I don't anticipate like a major amount of rebalances, but what we'll probably be doing is substituting one name for another, as well as what it also allows you to do. If you like your current constituents and you want to add a couple names, what you could do is buy a couple names and it will sell small increments of everything. So I just start myself. I put this portfolio together this weekend, and then today I started a position in it today, and I'm going to scale into this probably over the next couple weeks. And but I just I don't really like to buy things when we have a gap up like this. So it was kind of just putting this thing on to kind of start, and then we can kind of go from there. But I think that's the right way to do it. And then as I change it and kind of add to it, you'll get alerts. Provided that you follow it. So I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's a good way right now for the rest of the year to kind of be rather than to try to go nuts trying to scalp options. I think that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So that's my only prediction, and that's why I've decided to go this route. So it is not a buy and hold strategy. I'm going to be actively managing the targets as well as the stops, which are all defined ahead of time. But yeah, if you want to be involved in it and have someone do the managing for you, then that's that's basically what I'm doing here. So I'm excited about it, and it should be really good. And then the other thing is, you can see the performance real time. So hopefully, my goal is obviously to be outperforming the S&P in this, but you'll be able to see the portfolio performance real time, even if you don't put the trade on right away. All right, guys. So that is it. I just wanted to give you a little bit of an intro to that portfolio. So thanks very much for watching, and have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.